Welcome, Scorpio, to your in-depth weekly astrology overview and zodiac forecast for week commencing the 15th of June for the ascendant, the sun, or the moon. Going to share the big themes of the week ahead first of all. On screen at the beginning of the week is your event chart. I'm going to unpack that for you too. Always provide some important pointers. I'll then go through each of the influences frame by frame to give you a clear picture of what's upcoming in terms of your energy, work, relationships, or finances. I'm astrologer Patrick Arundel. A very warm welcome. If you've yet to subscribe to my channel, please do so now to help it to continue to thrive. But please also click or tap the bell notification symbol. So as we go into this week, Scorpio, we have a new moon, but it's a new moon in an air sign, which is very much to do with thinking and communication. But for you, it's in the deep transformational eighth house. What will that mean? We also have Uranus back there on this new moon for the first time in 77 years. Now, Uranus can be about innovation, but it can be about disruption, and it is clashing with the nodal axis. What's the implication? But Venus, the planet of charm, but also of money, is right at the top of your chart and gives you a brilliant chance this week when you're raising your profile to link to people in just the right way, which could be very helpful for your prospects. But we also have on Friday, Chiron, the so-called wounded healer, moving into your sector of relationships for the next 3 months. What's that about? Chiron can be where we feel a wound. How will that play out? And then on Sunday, with the solstice in the north, the summer, in the south, the winter, but in Western tropical astrology, it is the summer solstice. And it sees the sun moving into your sister water sign of Cancer, very much to do with opening your world up, not just over the following 4 weeks, but over the next 3 months. And I'll explain exactly why. So on the screen now, Scorpio, is your event chart. And there's the combination of the sun and the moon. The moon, in terms of the emotional dimension that she has, is perhaps not as strong in Gemini. She's known as being in Peregrine. Air signs and the moon, they don't quite get it. It's more detached. But for you, it's the eighth house. Now, new moons can be a chance to set our intentions. The eighth house can be where we're most devoted, but it can also be where we're wanting to leave something where we were devoted, but it's run its course. So some kind of evolution could be primed up by this particular new moon. But it is forging a very strong link to Jupiter, the planet of hope and growth and expansion, in a part of your chart that is to do with widening your horizons. What's the implication of that? We also have the energy of Uranus linking back to the nodal axis. So the new moon as you come into this week is quite complex because Gemini is about the conversation, it's how we think about things, but it can also bring to the fore that talent of yours to, to tease into the open things that might be hidden or not obvious. So, for example, if you're trying to improve your financial situation, the new moon here can give you the drive, particularly with the knowledge of Jupiter, to find out something that can give you an edge when it comes to improving your financial picture. But Uranus in this area, it's linking to Venus in a very positive way on Monday, which means that the charm of Venus, in terms of who you're connecting with, and the innovation of Uranus, it could be a link. So you could talk to someone, you get on really well, you exchange ideas, and you can commit to each other because you both have knowledge and skills, and it could be rewarding. But in terms of your more romantic or social situation, the position of Uranus is in a T-square with the north and south nodes, and it's going to continue. It actually peaked last week, but it's going to continue right through to the 26th of July when the nodes switch. So what does that mean? Well, the North Node has been encouraging you to trust the process when it comes to your love and social situations, but most of all, really trust your instincts. The South Node may be the friendships you've had or the ways you've approached things for a long time, which have worked. They provide safety, but perhaps they don't really push you outside of your inner cocoon. Well, what Uranus might be provoking is whether a relationship you're in at the moment, friendship or romantic, is really gripping you as much as it could. Because if it isn't, Uranus lays down the gauntlet and says, Scorpio, you're a sign that has the courage to confront things. Are you going to stick with what is okay, or are you really going to go for what truly excites you? So that really could be the big existential question that comes up through to the end of July. Now, you do have your traditional ruler Mars in a stunning alliance with Jupiter as the week goes on. If there is someone you really enjoy being with who's fresh, different, spontaneous, very knowledgeable, that tie could get stronger, but that could see you wanting to break away from something that feels like it's run its course. As far as your financial situation is concerned, the eighth house is more about long or short-term finances. You don't have anything in the second house, which is more about everyday resources, but you do have Venus at the top of your chart, and the 10th house can be about ambition. So I feel that with Chiron moving into that seventh house on Friday, it's really asking you to perhaps work on your confidence around connection. Because I think if there's one thing I'd say about Scorpio people, you can be very blunt in your observations of others, but very guarded about opening up to people too. So if there is, a part of you that tends to sort of not really even bother having the conversation because you feel you've got to protect yourself. Chiron's telling you you've got work to do. And when the sun arrives in Cancer on Sunday with the solstice, that for you is the ninth house of knowledge. So I feel that you will really gain from this Chiron transition. And I feel the sun will really help you because knowledge is the key. The more knowledge you gain, it doesn't have to be, you're not going to attend classes on how to relate to people, but you may watch some stuff on YouTube, you may read some things, do some workshops. But if you can work on any fear, perhaps, of connection, that would be a valuable way to work with Chiron. So that brings us to the end of the week. If you've yet to book that vacation or holiday yet, the sun will certainly encourage that over the following 4 weeks. But I told you it's not just those 4 weeks, it's 3 months. Why? Because in astrology, Western tropical astrology, based on the seasons, divides the year into 4 slots of 13 weeks. So when the sun moves into Cancer, which is a sign of leadership, pushing you to have the confidence to do all sorts of different novel and unique things, not just in the immediate 4 weeks, but over the next 3 months. And that might be considering jobs that are overseas, or perhaps are more varied, or perhaps retraining or learning some new skills, even applying for a course at college. All of these things could be very important over the next quarter of the year. So I'm going to summarize those 4 areas for you, Scorpio, of energy, work, relationships, and finances next. But just to say, I've slashed the price of my personal horoscope reports. For many years, it was buy two, get 30% off. I do appreciate that people are feeling the cost of living. And I want to make these as accessible as possible. So you buy one and get three for the price of one. The one you pay for is your life roadmap report, which helps us to understand ourselves better and make better decisions future forwards. Free, your 12 months transit forecast, totally unique to you. And also your draconic soul karmic analysis, which looks at astrology and life and ourselves in a different way. Please see below for more. If you would like to work with me one-to-one, please see my testimonials below. If you've yet to sign up for your free daily written horoscope, find your device each morning for your early day celestial pit stop, please see that. If you've yet to watch your Gemini new moon deep dive video, that's on the screen, or your Chiron 50-year return video on the screen too. So to summarize, energy. Yes, you continue to have Saturn in your sixth house. So you do need to be disciplined about getting all the details of your welfare working as efficiently as possible. Diet, nutrition, cooking from scratch, exercise, sleep, uh, not being too much of a slave to work. So I'm one that can't talk there, can I? So important to be aware of when to say no. And in fact, Saturn is still squaring with Mercury as it was last week, which means that if you did feel a bit stressed out last week, give yourself permission to spin out, do something differently on this week as far as your energy is concerned. Work, well, Jupiter is getting closer and closer to your 10th house cusp. So from the end of this month for the next 13 months, things could change in a quite radical way around your work. But I think really your a talent is for analyzing things or getting beneath the surface. And if that talent is being used properly by your employer, I feel that it can be an okay week for work. As far as your romantic situation is concerned, yes, you could have some dazzling connections because of Venus linking to Uranus, linking to Neptune, and then coming into the opposition with Pluto. That's on Friday. And Mars is in that seventh house and in a great link to Jupiter. So if you're aligning with someone who's fun and stimulating, that can get better. But don't be surprised if you meet someone through your work or, intriguingly, from a different background or age group to you. It's been a real pleasure being with you, Scorpio. Thank you so much for joining me. Have a great week and all the best for now.